Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful and oh so lovely and friendly neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are delighted that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Ghana, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Eva Grayzel. She is here to celebrate MC Plays Hide and Seek. Before we invite Eva into the studio, we want to invite you to really check out our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you are a parent, you want to go there. We have a great newsletter that comes out every couple of weeks. My daughter Alejandra is the editor of the newsletter, and it has some great information, tells you what's coming up on the show, lets you know about some great shows in the past you may have missed, share some great do-it-together activities, great read-alike. There's just so much stuff there. There's also our blog where you can find out about our latest Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. All sorts of great information on that website for parents. If you're an author, you absolutely want to go to readingwithyourkids.com. You can find out about our great Certified Great Read program. Such a big help for so many authors. You can also find out how you can be a guest. And it's a great place where you can contact us from. There's so much stuff there. Please take a minute to check it all out. readingwithyourkids.com. Joining us right now from the Jacksonville area in Florida, she is the author of a great new picture book called MC Plays Hide and Seek. Please welcome to the show, Eva Grayzel. Eva, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
I'm really excited to have you on, Eva. Tell us a little bit about MC Plays Hide and Seek.
So it's a perfect gift for all those people who have a cancer diagnosis and a child in their life who loves them.
Yeah, that's a tough. It's a tough subject. Whether we're talking about a child's loved one who has cancer, or a child having a diagnosis of cancer,
or a schoolmate, a teacher, a neighbor. The idea is that children are smart. They're more intuitive than we give them credit for. And my philosophy is that when we talk to them openly and age appropriately about a cancer diagnosis, children can turn towards that person with support, with empathy, with compassion, as opposed to turning away from that person in fear, confusion, and apprehension.
Because I've told the audience many times, I'm getting close to 100 years old. When I was a kid, we didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about sickness. We didn't talk about death. I think the first funeral I attended, was when I was 16. Things are different now. I think things are better now.
I agree.
When do you think that shift happened?
It's same for me, by the way.
Yeah. When do you think that shift happened, and what do you think was the cause for the shift?
Well, I think that we're just more educated. I think that it's all about emotional health, that we're starting to recognize that death happens, and we're far more emotionally healthy if we confront it, if we understand it. And for young children, death can simply be talking about how leaves on a tree might die, but then how they regrow. And there are ways to explain death and sickness to children so that they can respond in a healthy way.
I suppose there are some people who are listening to this thinking to themselves, I don't understand death. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. How am I going to help my kid do that?
That's why you get a book to do it, a great book. And it really, MC Plays Hide and Seek really promotes dialogue. The idea is that a parent typically or an adult reads it with a child. And when that happens, a child can not only think of ways and ideas things that they could do to make a difference, but parents or the adult thinks of ways to help that child get through a difficult time in their life.
What inspired you to write this book?
Good question. Well, I had 2 children, ages 5 and 7, and I had a sore on my tongue that didn't go away. I never smoked, rarely drink, and it was biopsied, and I was told it was negative, but it was misread, unfortunately for me. And 2 years later, I was diagnosed at stage 4 tongue cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
Oral cancer is a very public disease. You can't hide it under your clothes. Mm-hmm. And when I got a second chance at life, I recognized that I had regrets. I'll tell you honestly. I, on the outside, did everything for my kids. I ran around, did play dates in museums and ballet and piano and sports. But what I didn't do is really leave them with a legacy of my values. Mm. And so I made some changes that had a very lasting impact. And one of those things that I did is write this book. It's everything I wished my children had. You know, everybody was so concerned with me, Jed. Nobody thought about the impact of my disease on my children. None of my healthcare providers said, make sure your children get some, emotional support, a therapist, a psychologist. Nobody even recommended it. So we didn't think of it. And both of my children were traumatized. There's no question about it. And my daughter, who is 5, has really long-term PTSD from it.
Oh, my goodness. It kind of boggles my mind that the healthcare professionals, didn't anticipate that this would be a need for your children.
Well, Jed, I'm a 22-year survivor now. Mm. Back then, they didn't have this supportive healthcare system where all the dietitian and the nutritionist and the therapist and the chaplain, and they all come together to help you. They didn't have that back then. Nowadays, at the bigger cancer centers, they offer a lot of support, and that's pretty wonderful. But for me, it wasn't there. And this book, MC Plays Hide and Seek, I have looked for resources for my children over the years and just haven't found one that says what I wanted it to say. And really, I think, Jed, the most important thing parents can do today is address feelings. Mm-hmm. The feelings of children, no matter what it's about. For example, if a little kid falls and you hug them, you don't say it's okay. What you say is, how do you feel? How can I help you? And so I wanted to write a book for children who had a family member with cancer, healthy children, to help them recognize that their feelings are normal, that there's no right or wrong way to feel, that there are ways to cope with your feelings, and that it's okay, and there are ways you can help yourself. It's all about addressing feelings. And if we addressed everybody's feelings more openly, I think we'd have a whole healthier generation of children.
So you don't think it's healthier to do and say to kids what I used to hear? Hey, suck it up, guys, don't cry, just deal with it. Get on with your life.
That's right. I would not recommend any longer saying suck it up, because that's not acknowledging their feeling at all. And when you do that, they grow up feeling like their feelings don't matter. Mm-hmm. And the whole point is feelings really matter. And when you think about your feelings and you're able to articulate your feelings, you can ask for what you need. When you need help, you're stronger at saying, hey, I need this or that.
I think that's a great point. It's that whole idea is when we understand how it is we're feeling, we're better able to ask for help. When our kids understand what it is they're feeling, they're better able to ask for help.
Right.
We've talked a
Right.
lot.
So if there's bullying or if there's peer pressure, if they could say, wow, I'm feeling very uncomfortable. I'm feeling threatened. I'm feeling violated. Whatever it is they're feeling, then they're able to go to someone and say, this is how I'm feeling. Can you help me?
Where did you learn this insight?
Well, Jed, you know what? It's been over time that I'm learning more and more, but certainly when I was sick. And then I noticed that my daughter had issues. I mean, she didn't kiss me for 2 years after I recovered. And I know why. She was very intuitive. She knew she could lose me. She didn't want to commit to another day of loving me. And nobody addressed her feelings. She did ask, what happens if mommy dies? But nobody addressed her feelings. So as a result, those feelings stuck with her. They didn't leave her for years and years.
Goodness.
And over the years, I'm starting to recognize more clearly how I could have made a difference. And I want to help all those kids out there who are struggling in fear, knowing that somebody they love has cancer. Because cancer isn't a death sentence. And there are ways to make it easier. And the fact is that cancer is actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity to leave a legacy of choosing courage, of choosing gratitude, and teaching empathy, teaching what it means to be family, what it means to be a friend. When you, Jed, help a friend in the neighborhood with cancer, you aren't telling your children this is what you do. You're showing them this is how you are a friend. And that's what children need today. They need modeling. Nobody responds well to being told, do this, do that, feel this, feel that, suck it up. People don't respond well to that.
I love that idea of modeling for our kids. One of the things you just said, and you gave us an example of this is how this is how a friend acts. You said that having cancer gives you an opportunity to talk to your kids and tell them what family is. Tell us what you think family is, please.
So family, you can't rely. Your family is always there for you, basically. Maybe that's not true for everybody, and family is who you make it. Mm-hmm. But I think what I've learned is that I had some really good friends who disappeared when I was sick. And then I had other friends who weren't my best friends, but they came out of the woodwork and did anything for me. And I recognized that it's very important for us to nourish and give energy to the friendships with people who are going to be there for us in the hard times. It's very easy to have fun with other people. That's easy. It's very hard to show somebody support. And that's what cancer or illness does. It helps you see who you want in your life. And they model for your children and everybody who knows you and loves you, your friends, what it means to be a friend.
We know the inspiration for the book. We're hearing your message of what you learned as you fought this illness. But where did you get the strength at that time to fight that battle?
I'll be honest with you, Jed. I didn't think I had it in me. I really was ready to give up treatments. I prepared my funeral. I wrote a letter to my children, a goodbye letter. I wrote a note to my husband about where I wanted to be buried and what I wanted written on my tombstone, because we never talked about it. And I felt it was something he shouldn't have to decide. And you know what got me through? There was one moment when I went to my doctor, my oncologist, and I said to him, I'm quitting. I can't do this anymore. And he stood up and he put his hands on his desk and he leaned in close to my face. And he said to me, don't tell me you're quitting. This isn't a game that you quit. It's your life. Now find the strength. And I got up and I took another treatment. And I recognized that we are all stronger than we think we are. Our mind is telling us there's no way we can do this. But actually, we're a lot stronger than we think we are. And I think that's proven every day, even during COVID and with all our healthcare providers. I mean, people are stronger than they ever dreamed they were. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree. And it's interesting. Our conversation has kind of come around full circle. And in a way, earlier on, we were talking about helping our kids identify their feelings and that, the message that I would have heard as a kid, that whole idea of sucking it up and just dealing with it, that's not healthy for kids. But one of the things that you just shared with us is that when you were ready to give up and kind of give in to your feelings and that the feelings of hopelessness, your doctor stood up and said, hey, don't give up. It's time for you to get strong. It's one of those things that, I think as a society, we kind of operate in one direction, for a long time, and that works. And then people say, you know what? This isn't perfect. And then we shift focus and we go like in a completely different direction and just leave all the things that worked behind and try this new route. And I think one of the things that we're getting from this conversation is that, it's important for us to talk to our kids about their feelings and to help them understand their feelings so they know how to ask for help. But it's also important for us to, not allow our kids or ourselves to kind of be overwhelmed by our feelings and to give them the courage or the boot in the behind to dig down and to find that inner strength that we all need sometimes.
Yeah. And that we all have it. It's like we have this treasure box deep inside. And most of the time we don't access it because we're so busy with external things. But when you're struggling to survive, you have a great challenge in your life, I think that if we all knew there was this treasure box of jewels and we just have to access it, we just have to open it and see that we have facets, like we're all such faceted human beings, and that by grabbing one of these jewels, we can actually shine outwards. Like we could be an inspiration for others instead of something that people say, oh, too bad, poor you. Yeah. They could see, look at her. Wow. If I ever get sick, I want to be like her.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And I love that. I'm wondering though, that this, and I love that image of this treasure chest, treasure box of strength that exists inside of all of us, and we need to access it. Is there a key? Did you discover a magical key that kind of opens up that box for you?
No, I can't say there was one magical key. It was a combination of a supportive healthcare team. Fortunately, I had support in family and friends. A lot of people say, did you believe in God? Did you have faith? And this is also a really interesting concept, but I thought I didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves to get sick like this. There's nothing I did to deserve this cancer. So I could pray up the kazoo, and I don't think that God gave me this cancer or this higher being is going to heal me from cancer. So if I believe that, then the question is, where is your higher being, your God, your faith? Where is it? And I would say it was in all the people in my life. It's all about the human beings in your life. It doesn't matter if they're family or if they're not actually family. It's the human beings and the people that you nourish. so that energy that you put towards friendships, so that they're there for you in the hard times. And those were my jewels.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thought. And I think that this message that you have is, obviously it's really important for kids to hear this message when somebody that they love is dealing, with a potentially terminal illness. But I think that these are messages that can help us get through our current crisis, this pandemic that doesn't seem to end. We know it is going to end. We know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It just seems like that the end of the tunnel just keeps on getting further and further away.
Right. It does, but there's still ways to connect with the people in your life. So you do it virtually.
Yeah. And I love that those connections, those human connections, that friendship, that message to our kids that's the real treasure in our lives. It's not going out and working yourself to a bone to amass this big, treasure of worldly goods. It's going out and making those human connections and cherishing that treasure, that treasure of relationships.
Yeah. I've met a lot of people who have decided not to tell their children about a cancer diagnosis. I met a woman who said, I have breast cancer. My adult children are busy with little kids. I don't need to bother them with it. But I had to tell her that I feel very differently, that there are 3 reasons, Jed, to tell children about a cancer diagnosis. The first is that promoting secrecy and dishonesty in a family is not a good value. Mm-hmm. Number 2, you tell children about a cancer diagnosis because if anything should happen to you, they could be forever angry at you for not letting them know to cherish the last times with you. And lastly, the third reason is because it's an opportunity to teach what it means to be a family. Yeah. People who don't go through challenging times don't ever really learn how to come into themselves, how to be the best person they can be.
I agree. And I'm sorry that you had to go through the pain of this battle with cancer, but I'm really happy for the knowledge and the wisdom that you gained and that you're sharing now.
Thank you. That's exactly how I feel. I feel that all the pain and suffering I went through and then the long-term effects that I experience now, every time I get to tell my story, it's like therapy. It gives my suffering meaning and purpose.
Yeah. Well, I know that your wisdom is absolutely accurate. I'm not going to share this person's name, but someone that was a guest on the show in our very first year just went through a battle of cancer, and this person decided to be very public about it and reached out to friends. And this guest reported back to me that they felt the support from others, and I know myself, we grew closer together, even if it was just via technology, as I helped this guest get through this challenge. And
wow,
it is a blessing, I think.
Yeah, you know what? That I have to reiterate what you just said in a different way.
Okay.
When I was sick, I was afraid to ask for help because I was afraid that I'd never be able to repay all the favors, the meals, the driving, all of it. But one day I realized that by accepting someone's help, I'm giving back to them at the same moment because I'm allowing them to rise up on their ladder of righteousness. And if I didn't accept their help, they'd still be where they were yesterday. Yep. So it really, by accepting help, is a give and take. Yeah. And when I looked at it that way, it was so much easier for me to accept help.
Yeah. You are absolutely spot on. And Eva, I kind of learned that lesson through 5-year-olds, when I'm able to do my educational magic show in person with kids, one of the things I do is, and I've mentioned this on the show, is hand out little green beads, and I ask kids to think about something that they're thankful for, and we collect the beads. And as I'm doing that, I ask them, to tell me what it is they thought about. So many little 5 and 6-year-olds, they say, I am thankful that I can help my mom. I can help my friends. They're thankful for just the thing that you were just talking about, being able to reach out and help somebody in need.
Yeah, so one of the things I did when I recovered to teach my values was I got this beautiful charity box, and every family dinner we passed that box around. We put $1 in it or more. I don't put change in it because I feel like, discarded change isn't appropriate for charity when, we've got food in our fridge and a lock on our door. And so, we talk about what we're grateful for. And the beauty of it is that the adults at the table share first. So children get to hear what the adults are grateful for. And it really does help them focus and clarify what the children themselves are grateful for. And when we live a life, it's human nature to complain about our losses. And it's a skill to recognize our gifts. So throughout any challenge, if you develop and hone that skill of recognizing your gifts, you're a far healthier human being. And you're somebody people want to be around because you're positive and you see the good in life.
Yeah. I love hearing the energy and the joy in your voice, and at the same time as you're telling us about this really difficult moment in your life, and I'm just so happy that you had a chance to share that with us today. I know folks are going to want to know more about MC Plays and Hide Seek, but also they're going to want to know more about you because you have a lot going on. Where can folks go to learn more about Eva Grayzel?
They could just go to my website, evagrayzel.com. Gray, like the color of my hair, Grayzel.
We've had a wonderful, wonderful time speaking to the author of MC Plays Hide and Seek, Eva Grayzel. Eva, thank you so very much for spending time with us today.
Thanks, Jed. Bye.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Melissa K. Moore, here to celebrate her book, What's My Emoji? I love it. It was really a fun interview with a debut author, and it was her first appearance on a podcast, and she was great. You don't want to miss it. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, I want to thank our guest, Eva Grayzel. Thank you so much for being here, talking, giving some great encouragement to folks. And I love that Eva shares with us that we all have a treasure box of strength inside all of us. So very important to remember. I want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you for opening up that treasure box of strength to help your kids get through this most difficult time in history. Thank you for supporting your friends. Thank you for being strong for yourself. And thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.